All right, this is Sports Mashup number 44, last one of the calendar year 2021. December 29th, 2021 is the date today. And COVID continues to kill sports. And what can you do, I suppose? I think they're starting to adapt and adjust, and hopefully they can figure this out. I know it's been a mess in some things more than others. Some leagues pressing on, but the NBA is one where there's been a lot of positives, but they've pressed on. They've kept going. They have different protocols coming into place that I think will help. And it's been affecting some of the best teams in the league. The Suns, for example, nice shirt I'm wearing today. They lost Monty Williams, their head coach, and DeAndre Ayton, the starting center, to COVID protocols. They did lose the one game that they've played without them so far to the Grizzlies. Ja Morant had a layup to win it last second after Booker had a 3-take lead. So that's a tough loss. What can you do? But they're 26-7, as are the Warriors, so tied for first in the West. But the league is following the CDC recommendation, 10-day quarantine now down to 5. And it should help players get back quicker, I would think.
I mean, it should. I mean, you only missing 2 games, possibly over 4.
Yeah, and it's a big thing with the NFL doing it as well. So if an NFL player tests positive Monday or Tuesday, there's a chance they could get back by Sunday. So I think that'll help. But, this was a move that had to be made, or else they weren't going to be able to keep going, I think.
Well, no, and then you have Isaiah Thomas now signs a 10-day contract with the Mavs after he just had a 10-day contract with the Lakers.
He wasn't good for the Lakers. I don't really think anybody on the Lakers has been good this year, to be honest.
And then you had Durant, Kyrie, and LaMarcus Aldridge all clear protocols for the Nets.
Now the question is, when does Kyrie actually play? Because he's going to be a part-time guy on the road. And I would assume, my guess, and I know absolutely nothing about the timeline, I would guess like late January. I think we could see him on the road.
You just never know, because you don't know how much he trained and stuff.
He's got to have a fefew weeks to get back to it, I would think.
Well, unless he's been training this whole time.
Yeah, I doubt it, though.
But then, the Timberwolves, they had to sign Greg Monroe to a 10-day contract. He becomes the record 551st player to play this season in the NBA.
Yeah, I forgot that he ever existed, to be honest. He was pretty good a few years ago, though. Forgot that he was still
talented big man lefty.
Yeah, so it's going to get to 600, I would think, at the pace.
Went to Georgetown.
That sounds right. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the NBA continues to do this. I would assume that they're going to just keep the same rules in place and then move forward. I mean, they seem to be getting through it better than better than the NHL, but
hey, ISO Joe showed up his first game for the Celtics.
He did do stuff, yes. I did see that. So good for him. But a lot of these guys popping up back out of nowhere. It's a good opportunity for G League players, no doubt. All right, let's do the NFL. The week began. The 49ers looked pretty good early in this game. Ended up really falling apart. They lost to the Titans 20-17. Randy Bullock, game winner. Titans win. They're second in the AFC now with that win. So I don't really know. I still think the Niners are really good, but Jimmy G going down now, I don't know what happens there. That'll be interesting to see. Trey Lance could be the starter this week. I don't know who they're playing, but we'll see. It might be
Niners are playing.
Is it Seattle? No. Seattle's playing somebody who sucks.
Maybe Houston.
Anyway, while you find that, you had Christmas Day football where the Packers
they play Houston.
Yeah, okay. That should be a game they can win, even though Houston looks pretty good. I mean, we'll get to that.
Spread's still 13 on that game.
That's very high, given what happened last week, too. Houston's a team that could hang around with somebody any given week, I guess, but with Davis Mills, a quarterback at least. Anyway, Packers hold on, beat the Browns 24-22 on Christmas, 4 interceptions for Baker Mayfield. He's really the reason that they lost. And people can say whatever they want about that last play. Here's my perspective on it. They'd been letting them play a lot of the game. There was multiple holdings or pass interference calls in the secondary that weren't called. Both players are holding each other, and it's a very subtle tug of the jersey by Rasul Douglas. And in real time, I don't see how you call that at the end of the game. I don't understand that. There's a whole big thing about it. I think it's a lot closer than people think. I wouldn't have called it. Maybe I sound biased. I don't know. the Packers win 12-3, and we'll get to that record-breaking thing later. But the other game, the Colts, they ran the ball down Arizona's throat. They win 22-16. Arizona continues to struggle.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to make of them at this point, but we will see.
No, I mean, and they were without James Conner that game as well.
Yeah, and now they're not in first place anymore. The Rams in first place in that division. So very interesting. The Lions were hanging around, looking like they had a chance to beat the Falcons inside the 10. Tim Boyle with a horrendous interception. And I like the guy, former Packers backup, but Jesus, really bad throw. Falcons beat the Lions 20-16. Goff should be back this week for them. Joe Burrow just destroyed the Ravens secondary. The Ravens secondary is very injured. A lot of random guys back there, which is why I don't understand why the Packers didn't throw the ball against Baltimore more. Burrow, 37-46, 525 yards, 4 touchdowns. Second blowout win of the season over the Ravens for Cincinnati, 41-21. T. Higgins had a huge game. So just a dominant win for the Bengals, a win that they needed. The Rams win despite Stafford's 3 interceptions in Minnesota, 30-23 over the Vikings. Stafford once seemed like he was getting close in the MVP race. I feel like this performance right here shows you, Jesus, he's not the best. They win a game when he throws 3 picks. I mean, not a great look for the MVP race.
Yeah, and then in that, Justin Jefferson break Odell Beckham's record for most yards in the first 2 years.
Yep.
As he goes against OBJ, they wore shirts with each other on and pregame.
Yeah, both LSU guys.
I'm pretty sure Jefferson was one of the guys after they won the national championship that Odell was giving money to.
Yeah, and Jefferson wore a free OBJ shirt that one week when the Browns were going to release him. Mm-hmm. So interesting. But the MVP race, I think, is pretty much done. But we'll get to that. The Bills did not punt the ball one time in Foxborough. A big 33-21 win. Their offense was dominant. I mean, Josh Allen was making plays left and right. And New England loses 2 in a row. Probably good for them, though, I think. A little too hot. Jets beat the Jags 26-21. Eagles kill the Giants 34-10. And the Buccaneers destroyed the Panthers 32-6. You had a shocking result. The Texans beat the Chargers 41-29. Brutal day for Herbert. A pick 6 Herbert threw in this game. Davis Mills once again looked pretty good. I don't think he's the long-term guy there, but he looks pretty good right now. And he's good enough to be competitive with. So that's been proven all season. The Bears.
The Chargers, they've been going downhill.
Yeah. The Chiefs game is one they could have won. Before that, their schedule wasn't the hardest. The Giants game was an easy one for them. But Chargers are kind of the same team every year. They're always not as good as the record's never as good as it should be. And I feel like that's happening again this season. You had the Bears beat the Seahawks 25-24. 2-point conversion worked for the Bears at the end of the game. They hold on. Nick Foles wins it in the snow in Seattle. Bears are not in a playoff spot, but they get a win there, and they make the Giants' first-round pick, which was the Bears' pick, and now the Giants' pick worse. So good for them for that. The Chiefs kill the Steelers 36-10. Raiders also beat the Broncos 17-13. And there was live televised murder on Sunday Night Football. 56-14, Dallas destroyed Washington. And Monday Night Football was pretty much take 2. Not as bad, but another live televised murder. Ian Book gets sacked 8 times as the Dolphins beat the Saints 20-3, 7 in a row for the Dolphins. They are the first team in NFL history to win 7 in a row and lose 7 in a row in the same season. So they won week 1 at Foxborough. They lost 7 in a row after that, and now they've won 7 in a row. So 1-0 to 1-7 to 7 to 8-7.
That Cowboys game that should ended with 7. I mean, that he fumbled it into the end zone, and somehow they counted as a touchdown, basically like to end the game. McCarty was pissed about it.
Yeah, I mean, this game was definitely live televised murder. The Cowboys defense is very opportunistic. And as I've said the last few weeks, Washington's quarterback situation is a mess.
Who did start for them?
Heineke. He is bad. I don't care what anybody says.
Micah Parsons broke records. I've seen people now talking that he needs to be in the MVP candidate.
Well, I'm pretty sure everybody knows who's going to win MVP at this point. I think if Rodgers doesn't slip up the last 2 weeks, he will win it. He's the clear-cut favorite on the
I'm not
sports
saying that
books right
Michael
now.
Parsons needs to win it, but people have
No,
been saying that he
yeah.
needs to be in that category
I mean, I
for what
guess.
he's done as a rookie.
Yeah,
He's definitely getting Rookie of the Year.
Defensive Player of the Year should be on the table too.
But I assume he's got both locked up.
Yeah, I mean, the MVP thing is interesting because it's like if Micah Parsons wasn't on the Cowboys, I still think they would be a good winning team. But if you look at a team like Tampa or Green Bay, I feel like they would not be as good. Tampa, I don't even know. That's a hard one to judge, especially if the guys that are out right now are out. I don't think they'd be very good. But if Brady wasn't there and they still had the cast of characters they have, I think they would be competent. I don't really think they'd be that good. And Green Bay, we saw what they were without Rodgers. And then Indianapolis, without Jonathan Taylor, I still think that they can run the ball with that line. Jonathan Taylor is obviously next level, but it's Rodgers in tier 1 of the MVP race. After that, it's Brady, and I think Rodgers is going to win it based on the odds. So if you want to throw a defensive player in the conversation, I absolutely think it would be him. But this was live televised murder, so I can't believe they put us through this. They could have flexed us out, too. Everybody knew this was going to be a bad game. And I can't believe it was as close as it was when they played in Washington. But that was really the Cowboys' offense slipping up a lot. But anyway, playoff picture after 16
I had that
minutes.
picked wrong because I had that Washington plus 10.5.
I did, too, yeah. I thought it was too high based on what happened the first game, but then I realized, this is probably stupid. Don't ever pick Washington again is pretty much what I told myself. NFC playoff picture, Packers won at 12-3. They had the Cowboys, Rams, and Bucks leading their divisions 2 through 4, 5 through 7 wild card. Cardinals, 49ers, Eagles. In the AFC, the Chiefs have risen to the top.
Once again, though, the Bucks keep dropping, yet they're winning.
Well, this has to do with conference record, I would assume.
Well, the only conference game they've lost are to the Saints.
Well, they lost to the Saints twice, so that doesn't help. Let me look at the conference records here. Dallas has the number. Like if Dallas and Green Bay tie at the top, Dallas gets the 1 seed. So that is significant. Yeah, let's see here. Dallas is 9-1 in the NFC. Tampa is 7-4. Green Bay 8-2, and the Rams are 8-3. So Tampa lost twice to New Orleans, and then who else did they lose to?
The Rams.
Washington. Yeah. So, yep. So they'll be at number 4 right now. They would play Arizona. Interesting game that would be. The AFC, Chiefs at 1, Titans 2, Bengals 3, Bills 4, Colts, Patriots, Dolphins, the wild card teams there. Aaron Rodgers breaking the franchise record for touchdown passes in Green Bay at 443 on Christmas Day. First quarter touchdown pass to Alan Lazard. That record was bound to be broken by him at some point, and he got it done this year. So,
yeah, he did an interesting quote, like when he said that, like when he first came out behind Favre, he didn't think he'd ever get anywhere close to that.
Yeah, definitely said it was an eye-opening thing to be in a room with a quarterback who's better than him for the first time. I think sitting as long as he did definitely helped him, but I feel like the modern era of football, that wouldn't happen. Like, guys are not sitting for 3 years anymore. The only one that has a chance to do that is the one in Green Bay right now, Jordan Love. So, because the contracts for these rookies are so high, and the fifth-year option, you got to play them as quickly as possible. It's definitely tougher.
Yeah.
You had the passing of the legendary coach and broadcaster John Madden at 85. They had a documentary about him that aired on Christmas Day on Fox. And one of the all-time greats, a football icon. I think he's on the Mount Rushmore of impact on the sport in the league. So, R.I.P.
Before, it was always Madden. It wasn't NFL. That was NFL before Madden, but never that every NFL game was Madden.
Yep. He did a lot, and he will be missed greatly by the NFL and the world, really. So, an icon, passing away at 85. So, transitioning to golf, that will be next week, right? So, we'll get into that next week.
Yeah, the Century Tournament of Champions is next weekend.
All right, so we'll talk about that and pick that next week. College basketball, a lot of programs paused right now, a lot of issues there. Not surprising considering the fact the NCAA is incompetent and the conferences don't know what they're doing. So it's a bit of a mess.
And then the AP, the top 5 didn't change. Still Baylor, Duke, Purdue, Gonzaga, UCLA. Kansas moves up 1 to 6. USC up 1 to 7. Iowa State up 1 to 8. Arizona dropped 3 to 9. Michigan State up 1 to 10. And at 22, Villanova up 1, even with a record at 8-4.
Yeah, Villanova, they're getting respect for their name and their name only. So, I mean, I've seen bracketology, which this is too early for bracketology, but if you look at it, people have Villanova as like a 5 seed, which is absurd. They're 8-4. Their losses they haven't looked good in, except for UCLA, they look pretty good.
You lost to Creighton by 30.
Couldn't score 40 points against Baylor. I know Baylor's defense is good, but I don't care who you are. 36 points in that game is embarrassing. So it's the whole thing's a joke. I don't get it.
Duke postponed their game tonight against Clemson and Saturday's game against Notre Dame because of COVID. Yeah, and we already know after last year, Coach K is big into the COVID protocols and everything. So who knows what this is going to hold for them?
Yeah, I would bet that Duke's testing players like 5 times a day based on what Coach K says. So, not great. But the AP poll sucks. I feel like that's just a known fact at this point.
Is Illinois back in?
They're 26, which you cannot convince me they're not in the top 25. They're outside of their first team receiving votes that's not in, which you cannot convince me that Villanova has a better resume than Illinois does right now. I don't care who they lost to. Illinois looked bad. I guess you could say 2 games they've lost, they look bad, but one of them was really bad. The other one, the Marquette game, wasn't that bad. Arizona, they hung around. So you cannot convince me that Villanova.
The only other game they looked bad was that Rio Grande team.
Yeah. I mean, that was horrible defense is what that was.
I mean, you won, but it wasn't by much. You let them hang around.
Yep. Yeah, they let the guards of that team kill them, and that's not a good look because that's a team that Arizona beat by like 40. So, but Illinois did kill Missouri, so that's a plus. You got to take that. Major League Baseball, a couple things happening despite the lockout.
Yeah, Bellinger 1 year, $17 million deal with the Dodgers. I said this was done before the lockout.
Yeah, he had a horrendous season last year. Horrendous. So they need him to bounce back.
But $17 million for a year after a horrible season. I mean, I'd sign that contract all day long.
Yep.
And then this is sad news. Mariners third baseman Kyle Seager, 34, retires after 11 years after his best production year. He had 35 homers and 105 RBIs last year.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like the type of guy that can walk away with it and be fine. I mean,
all 11 years were with the Mariners.
I mean, I don't think
Corey Seager just signed that huge deal with the Rangers.
He gets money from him if he needs it, I guess. I mean, I feel like he probably wanted to spend his whole career in Seattle, and he probably wasn't going to be brought back. So I feel like he's probably at peace with just hanging it up.
Yeah, his career stats was 242 homers, 807 RBIs, and a 251 batting average.
Yeah, really steady, consistent, solid third baseman for a long time.
And the radar, too.
Yeah,
in Seattle.
Yeah, it's just they didn't win very much. And really, I mean, they were pretty good this season. They probably should have made the playoffs. Didn't happen, so he's never going to play in the playoffs, which, unfortunate. Speaking of Bellinger, by the way, just to put into perspective how bad he was last season, 165 average and 315 at-bats. So he missed about half of his at-bats. He would have had way more than he did. 10 home runs, 36 RBIs. So really bad. And for people who love WAR, his WAR was negative 1.5. Horrendous. So there you go. He did not have a good time. The NHL resumed play yesterday. There was 32 goals in 3 games played yesterday. 32 goals in 3 games. You had the Arizona-San Jose game 8-7 in overtime. You had Montreal-Tampa 5-4. I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I don't remember the other score. I think it was 6-3 Vegas. So that would be 9 plus 8, 17. And then 8-7 is 15, 17 plus 15, 32. Thanks for coming. Great math. So there'll be some more games tonight. Hopefully they can move forward. The good thing is the Winter Classic likely to happen on Saturday, and it is going to be cold in Minnesota. We're talking like negative temperatures on Saturday night, 6 o'clock on TNT Central Time. Blues Wild, Winter Classic. Going to be fun, but very cold.
It's at Twins Field.
Target Philly, yeah, where the Twins play. I think -7 or something is supposed to be the temperature there, which not bad. I've seen worse.
Goaltender's going to have stocking caps on.
Yep, absolutely. Let me just check real quick. So right now in Minneapolis, which very, very nice place, it's 7 degrees there right now. The high on Saturday is -4. That is the high during the day. This game's going to start at, 7 o'clock local time there? It's going to be so cold. I mean, Jesus. I like how that's the only negative temperature in the next 10 days in Minnesota. It happens to be the day of the Winter Classic. That is interesting, but should be interesting. Also, speaking of cold weather, Sunday Night Football, Lambeau Sunday.
Hey, you better get pucks on net.
That's true in the hockey, absolutely. But I think a lot of these Russian guys probably be fine with it. The Blues have a ton of Russian players, so they're probably used to the cold weather, Siberia or whatever. So there you go. Unfortunate news, the 2022 World Junior Championships, which had just started a couple days ago, were canceled after 4 positive tests. 0.016 of players, 0.016% of players tested positive. So that's Canada for you. That's the IIHF. Just stupid. No symptoms. I mean, they were following protocols. It's absurd. I mean, it makes no sense to me, but whatever. I don't even want to spend that much time on it. It's so annoying.
I mean, speaking of that, too, I saw Marshawn went off about not being allowed to play in the Olympics.
I understand his point, but also I feel like the Players Association agreed to that. So it's like, what can you do at this point? I mean, I don't know. I feel like it'd be a hassle for a player to go over there by themselves, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. But Tarasenko agreed. So there's other guys in the league that agree with Marshawn. And it should be interesting to see if the league has a comment on that. But, yeah, the World Juniors being canceled is an atrocity. So hopefully they can figure out how to –
How was the US of A doing?
Well, their first game, they were up 3-0 on Slovakia. They almost blew it. They won 3-2. And they were supposed to play Switzerland yesterday, and that got postponed because of 2 positive tests. And then they had to forfeit it. It wasn't postponed. It was actually a forfeit, which was the other dumb part. I feel like what's the point in doing this tournament if you're just going to make teams forfeit over 1 positive test on their entire team? The whole thing's a joke, but what can you do? It's kind of expected being in Canada and the way that it's a total shit show in Canada in terms of leadership. So what can you do? College football, though, that could be interesting if there's some COVID issues in this. I don't know. Bowls are getting canceled left and right.
Yeah, I saw NC State was irate that their bowl got canceled.
I mean, that was canceled like 5 hours before kickoff. That's ridiculous. That is absurd.
Like even when you go to the ESPN thing for that game, it doesn't even show another team. It just shows NC State.
I think they're trying to find a replacement for it. That's probably why it shows that.
And then, the lines are still the same for the football playoffs. Bama -13.5, Georgia -7.5.
We're gonna pick those today.
Last week I went 10-5, 1-1 in the NBA, only 1-0 in college basketball. All the rest of my games got postponed or canceled.
Yeah, I mean
4-0 in college football, awaiting my Clemson Iowa State game, which is about to kick off here shortly, and then 4-4 in the NFL.
I went 9-6 overall. 2-1 in college football, 4-4 in the NFL, 2-0 in college basketball, 1-1 in the NBA. So interesting week in terms of picks. Not a lot to pick because I had picked 5 college football games and 2 of them were gone, and then college basketball, 2 out of the 6 were played. So there you go. Let's start in the NBA tonight. Games are back. Interesting slate. Who do you like in the NBA?
I got the Hornets +3.5 over the Pacers and the Mavs -2.5 over the Kings.
I'll take the Celtics -6.5 against the Clippers and the Knicks -8 at the Pistons. I like that game. NHL tomorrow games. There's 3 games tomorrow. There's a lot tonight, but we're going to pick tomorrow. Who do you like?
That's what it's horrible. There's a lot of games tomorrow, but there's only 3 lines.
Yeah.
So I've got Tampa +115 over Florida, and the Sabres +165 over the Islanders.
we happen to pick the same games. I'll take Tampa plus 115 at Florida, and I'll take the Islanders minus 200 against a Buffalo team that is a bit ravaged right now. I'm not sure who's going to play for them. I know they had COVID issues. That's why this game could be postponed. I wouldn't be surprised if it were, but hopefully it's not. College hoops, 2 Thursday, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday, back to that. Hopefully these games actually get played. I think it's a safe bet that at least one of the games that we pick out of the 12 or however many there are will be postponed, I would assume.
It was tough finding the Friday game.
Yeah, not a lot going on there. Thursday's games, who do you like?
Arizona at UCLA, taking UCLA. Arizona State at USC, taking USC.
Arizona UCLA is a hell of a game. That'll be interesting to watch.
9 versus 5.
I like Arizona to win, but who knows? I did not pick that. I'll take Michigan over UCF. And Grand Canyon to beat Chicago State by about 30. Grand Canyon is a very good whack Western athletic team coached by Bryce Drew. So there you go.
Watch out for Chicago State.
They're a weird team because a couple years ago they were like barely a program, and now they're actually not as incompetent as they once were. It's a very interesting program they have there. Friday, who do you like?
Wagner versus Mount St. Mary's, taking Wagner. And Fairleigh Dickinson versus St. Francis, PA, taking St. Francis, PA.
Give me Iona to beat Siena and Merrimack to beat Long Island. And now we have Saturday, some decent conference games on Saturday.
Yeah, West Virginia at Texas. I'm taking Texas. And Villanova versus Seton Hall. Taking Seton Hall, but I have a feeling this game's not going to happen. Seton Hall's games keep getting postponed and canceled.
I agree, and I feel like with the Seton Hall roster issues that Villanova could win this game, but I am also picking Seton Hall to win if it's played. Because I'm anti-Villanova right now, and it's not even their fault. I think they're a good team, but I don't think that they're worthy of any of the praise that they've gotten in terms of rankings and stuff. It's a little ridiculous. They have like a 6-man rotation. That's a problem. Anyway, and then I'll take Memphis to beat Wichita State. Some people might think Wichita State's the favorite in this game. I think Memphis is starting to learn how to play as a team. And I think that is hard to do when you have a guy who's a glorified AAU coach and basically a recruiter, Penny Hardaway, but I'll take Memphis to win. Let's do the bowl games now. We got, 3 bowl games plus the 2 college football playoff games, which are also bowls, but they're automatic picks. Who do you like in the first 3 picks?
In the Perfect Music City Bowl, I have Purdue plus 6 over Tennessee. The Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Michigan State minus 3 over Pitt. I mean, Pitt's playing with their backup quarterback.
Yep.
And SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl, taking Wisconsin minus 6 over Arizona State.
I'm also picking the Peach Bowl. Some people might say no Kenny Pickett, no problem. I'm saying no Kenny Pickett, there will be lots of problems. And I know Kenneth Walker's not playing for Michigan State, but they have their starting quarterback. So I will take Michigan State minus 3 in that game over Pitt. Rose Bowl, Ohio State's going to be without a couple of their best receivers. I know Garrett Wilson's not playing, a couple offensive linemen not playing due to the draft. So I'm going to take Utah. Utah's a team that's very gritty. They show up in every game. You saw it in the Pac-12 championship. They're a good team.
Double-dipped Oregon.
It killed them twice. I mean, they're a good team. Utah plus 4 against Ohio State. And then give me Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin riding with them, minus 1 against Baylor in the Sugar Bowl. Let's do the college football playoff. I believe is it Cotton Bowl and Orange Bowl? I think that's
the
what
Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic and the Capital One Orange Bowl.
So let's start with the Cotton Bowl, which I believe is the first game of the day there of that.
I'm taking Bama minus 13.5.
Yeah, I feel like Cincinnati's going to show up and play well, but I just think Bama's so good, and I think that they're, it's kind of a different type of Saban team. They took a while to get going, and then I think they're just ascending, which I think makes them even scarier than they were the year that Mac Jones was there last year when they just killed everybody. But let me take Alabama minus the 13.5. Orange Bowl from Miami. Interesting game here. The line's bigger than I think it should be. Who do you like?
Michigan plus 7.5.
Yeah, I got to take Michigan too. I just think that they're kind of a team of destiny to make a run. I think they could win the national championship over Bama. I just think it's one of those weird things. But as of now, I will take them over Georgia. But Georgia Georgia's got to be pissed coming off that SEC championship game. But then again, their quarterback is just atrocious. So that's a problem. NFL, no Thursday night game this week. We got a Sunday night game, a Monday night game, then 5 picks on Sunday. Sunday night, Packers, Vikings, Lambeau. Cold weather, as I mentioned earlier. Who do you like on the Sunday night game?
Packers -6.5.
Yeah, I'm worried about covering Justin Jefferson and stopping Dalvin Cook, but Adam Thielen being out helps the Packers. I know the Packers have like 13 or 14, maybe 15 guys in the COVID list right now. Most of them are not very significant. A couple of them that are, though, Tyler Davis and Mercedes Lewis, pretty much their 2 best blocking tight ends. That can be a problem. And their punter is on the COVID list, but hoping he can come off. We'll see. But I'll still take the Packers -6.5. Might as well. Then we have an AFC North Monday night game. Browns-Steelers. Interesting game here.
Yeah, I'm taking the Steelers +3.5.
Whoever loses this game is officially dead. I think they're at least one of them, probably both of them, are dead anyway. But I'm going to take the Browns plus or -3.5. I've seen enough to say that they're good enough to win if Baker doesn't do what he did Saturday. Like him throwing 4 picks is pretty much what lost that game. Their defense played pretty well. They can run the ball with Chubb, obviously, and the Steelers have a lot of issues. So I'm going to take the Browns. And then Sunday, 5 picks. Who do you like?
I picked 6 games, actually, since we have a Thursday night game.
Yeah, I'll throw a 6th on there. Go ahead.
Giants at the Bears. I took the Bears -6. Chiefs -5 at the Bengals. Rams -3.5 at Baltimore. Raiders at Colts. Give me the Colts -6.5. Detroit at Seattle. Give me Seattle -7. And the Jags at the Patriots. I'm taking the Jags +15.
That's a huge spread. All right. I will take the Bengals +5 against the Chiefs. I think something's got to give with the Chiefs. Probably lose one more game before the end of the season. Might as well make it this one. Give me the Bears -6 against a horrendous Giants team with probably Mike Glennon at quarterback again, which is just embarrassing to watch. Give me Arizona +5.5 at Dallas. Give me the Colts -6.5 over the Raiders. Patriots -15 against the Jags. And then give me the Texans +13 against the Niners. I think they can cover that big spread. So it'll be interesting to see. Big NFL slate. Second to last week of the season with the longer season this season. And not a lot going on in the world of football or footy or soccer, whatever you want to call it. But I did make 5 picks for the week. Skipped last week, 42, 25, and 1 overall in the footy picks. My picks this week, La Liga. I'm picking one game, Real Madrid -140 over Getafe. Bundesliga, give me RB Leipzig -165 over Mainz, and then Premier League 3 picks: Man U -265 over Burnley, Arsenal +550 over Man City, and West Ham +130 over Crystal Palace. So let's see if I can get a nice 5-0 week in my return to the footy picks, and we'll go from there. But that'll do it for us. Happy New Year, everybody out there. 2022 will be the time that you see us next for number 45, and we'll see you next Wednesday in January.
Deuces.
Goodbye.